this is why I'm going to remember this story for the rest of my life. Hey y'all, welcome back to Noni Seattle. It's been a really busy February and now I finally have the time to shoot this video for March. Today's video is sponsored by my high school best friend, Leah, or sometimes I call her Marcelia if I'm stressed out. But it's almost her birthday. Her birthday is in March 13. And when I asked her what she wants for her birthday, she said, I want you to upload a new YouTube video. How sweet and how amazing is that? What do I do to deserve a friend like her? I don't know. I love her a lot. So Leah, thank you for sponsoring today's video. So shout out to her and her birthday. Say happy birthday to her. Yay! So the story takes place in Seattle. Me and Sharon, we were planning to drive down to SF. We've been planning for this trip for a couple weeks. I would love to take a break from work and I've never taken a road trip from Seattle to SF, so I really wanted to go. And Sharon also needed to renew her passport, so perfect timing. Let's go. Let's make this trip. What can possibly go wrong? Everything. Chronologically, it started on February 12th. Friday night. It was snowing. Me and Sharon were planning to go to our friend's restaurant to celebrate Chinese New Year. They were planning to cook a bunch of spread of Chinese food for us and our friends. So we were like, okay, so excited, let's go. I was driving when it was snowing. I don't feel comfortable driving in the snow, and I don't know if any of you have driven in the snow before. You kind of skid a little bit, and then especially my car is a two-wheel drive, so it's a rear-wheel drive where very dangerous to drive in the snow. So you gotta like be super careful and super slow. So when I drove, it was my first time driving in the snow, or maybe second time because I was traumatized before. I'm like, okay, I don't feel comfortable. We reached the destination, we reached the restaurant safely, and then we ate throughout the whole night, throughout the whole dinner. I told Sharon, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I think it's a good idea anymore. But then Sharon has driven in the snow before and she's super comfortable. So we're like, okay, Sharon, you can try driving home. Let's see how it goes. Since she was about to sleep over at my place anyway, so she drove my car and we reached our apartment safely. Sharon felt comfortable. And I'm like, okay, good. You don't freak out as much as I do because I don't like driving in the snow. We decided that the next morning we should see how the weather is, we should see the condition of the snow and everything, but we made a deal that Sharon will be driving until we reach Portland or somewhere where it doesn't snow as bad anymore. So the next day we woke up, it was like 6 a.m. We went down, put our stuff in the trunk, we were ready to go, and the snow was thick. It was, I don't know, well, I guess it was thick for me. I guess if you live in Minnesota, you don't feel like it's thick. But it was 3-4 inches, I think. I don't know if that was the right estimate, but it was thick for me. And we were debating whether we should still go or not. My car is parked in the garage, and the garage is located in the basement. So to exit the basement, there's kind of like an uphill ramp. We just need to pass that ramp in order to hit the road, ride the highway, and then we'll be all set to go down to San Francisco. The ramp. It was covered in snow. The apartment didn't plow it. I mean, it was 6 a.m. So we kind of like, you know what, let's just give it a try. Let's just give it a shot. So we drove. We drove up the ramp and the car got stuck in the snow. Nothing we can do here. So I had this like tiny mini shovel that I have in the car. So I tried to shovel the snow bit by bit. I think it took me 30 minutes to shovel the snow to get back to the garage. My hair was soaked from the snow and I was so tired, and I told Sharon, I don't want to go. Let's postpone this. But then after we reached my apartment unit and we like kind of rested from all those emotional turmoil, I was thinking out loud and I told her, you know what, I don't want to postpone this trip because it's really, I guess, what do you call that, tanggung? Like we're like almost there, you know, like let's just go, maybe let's give it another try. So we decided to wait until 9 a.m. to see how the condition is. And we're hoping that the apartment will plow the snow by then. 9 a.m. hits, go back down, the snow was still piling up. I asked my apartment people, the leasing folks, I asked them if they were going to plow the snow on the ramp. And they said, we will, but we don't know when. And we're like, we can't lose any more daylight. So we go back to the garage and we saw that some cars, especially SUVs or four-wheel drive cars, they were able to go out, and they created some sort of like a pathway for us because they've driven in the snow. We were kind of like, maybe we can just follow the pathway and see how that goes. At that point, I think we talk about how this would be our last effort. It's like the universe is telling us to not go, but we don't want to listen. And we're like, okay, this is our last effort. If this doesn't work, let's go back inside and postpone the trip. I took Rose and we all went back in the car. Sharon was driving. We tried to go up the ramp. We reached a higher spot than before, but still we got stuck again. So at this point, I'm kind of like, I think we both look at each other and like, this is it, bye. And then I think we saw like some passerbys, like some people on the street were like passing by and they're kind of like, oh, poor you guys are stuck. But then this guy who was coming home from his Safeway trip, grocery trip across the road, he saw us and he kind of made this, oh, I'm a plushie, some moral support. He kind of made this kind of like gesture, kind of like, oh my god, like the apartment didn't plow the ramp yet, seriously? And we're like, And then when I opened my window, because I feel like, I think he was about to say something, and I opened my window and he said, I'll push the car for you. And I'm like, say what? And he was like, I'll push the car. So he put down his groceries and his coffee on the sidewalk on the snow, and he tried to push the car for us, and it didn't work. I'm like, are you sure you want to keep doing this? And he's like, we need to shovel the snow. So long story short, he helped us shovel the snow. He tried to find a shovel but couldn't, so he found this like orange cone, the one that you can see on the street. He took an orange cone and tried to shovel the snow with it, and then I gave him my little shovel, my little tiny shovel. So he kept doing it, and I'm like, oh my god, like are you seriously helping us right now? And then suddenly there's a car behind us who's trying to leave as well, and he saw us stuck, and he kind of like, oh, you guys are stuck, are you guys okay? And the first guy was telling him to, hey, let's push the cars together. And then they tried to push the cars together, but it still didn't work. So the second guy told us that, okay, I'm gonna go back to the garage and I'm going up to my apartment, grab my shovel and help you guys shovel. And I'm kind of like, what's going on here? Like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So he went in and he did. He came back with his shovel, and I was just so dumbfounded by everything. And then the first guy found a real shovel. Finally somebody left us a shovel, I think, and he used that real shovel, like the big one, to shovel the snow and make path for in front of our car so we can go past the ramp and we can go hit the streets. And suddenly there's another car trying to go inside the garage, so he saw us getting stuck. There's no way for him to get down the ramp and inside the garage, so he stopped his car and he went out. And apparently this is my neighbor that I know who lived right across my door, and he was like, oh, are you guys okay? You guys are stuck? Okay. And then he's like, okay, I'll help you guys. And I'm like, what's going on? Suddenly there's another neighbor, like a fourth neighbor, and he saw us getting stuck, and he told us, it's dangerous to drive out there. And what kind of car do you have? You have rear wheel drive, like, are you sure? Even if you hit the street, it'll be so dangerous, yada yada yada. And me and Sharon kind of like, we know we're stupid, we're dumb, but we just want to go. And then so in the end, these 4 strangers helped us push our car until we reached the road, until we were able to pass that ramp and drove on the main street. And I was just so overwhelmed with their kindness. I know they're my literal neighbors, but I've never seen them, like most of them, before. I barely interact with them, I don't talk with them, I don't know my own neighbors, and they these strangers practically offered like these kindness, these like insane amount of kindness. When we finally hit the road, I cried. I was bawling. Like Sharon was driving professionally, and I was bawling, and I told her I've never received so much kindness from strangers before, and I'm just so overwhelmed with everything. Like, you know, COVID happened, and then everybody's kind of like,
oh, socially distancing from everybody, like, oh, not safe, never talk to strangers because what if they have COVID?
But the fact that these random people, these strangers, saw us in trouble, and they lent their hand and they lent their strength, and they kind of like help us without asking anything in return, I'm just overwhelmed. This is why I'm going to remember this story for the rest of my life, because this is a big reminder that there's still hope in this world. There's still hope in humanity, and there's still hope in kindness and being kind to your neighbors, which doesn't happen very often, to be honest. And I'm honestly ashamed myself, because if I see someone getting stuck in the snow, would I have help? Probably not, because I don't know how to help. But at the same time, I would be like, oh, poor them, but they'll figure it out, you know. Like I wouldn't have done what they did to us, and I learned a lot that day. I want to learn more from them, and I want to be able to spread that kind of kindness in this world. It's just so amazing, and this is why I feel like this is a great story to share, and this is why I've been repeating this story for like 7 times already, because I feel like everybody needs to hear this and everybody can learn from it. Learn from us. Do not drive in the middle of a snowstorm, especially if you've never driven in the snow before, and do not take road trips in the middle of the snow, because it was crazy. So the trip was supposed to be 12 hours, but it took us, 16 hours? And I think Sharon drove like 14 hours in total. It was insane. She's amazing. Thank you, Sharon. Luckily, we made it to SF, which brings me to my second part of the story. If we have time. We should have time. We stayed over at our friend's place. Shannon, thank you. Shout out for letting us crash your place. A few days in, we downloaded this app called Clubhouse. It's basically like a live podcast. The official term is like an audio in app. You can either join a room, a public room. You can see the title, the topic, and you just join the room and you can listen in to the moderators and the speakers speaking and talking about the topic. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand and the moderator can change your status to a speaker, and you can speak, you can unmute yourself and start speaking and talking and ask your questions or anything. But you can also create your own room. So you can like create a room with your friends and you guys will be moderators. You can choose your topic, or you can just leave the room blank, no topic, and just talk and people can join in the room and all that. Me, Shannon, and Sharon, we're just like, okay, let's give this a try. Ha ha ha. Let's try to create our own room. What should we call it? Oh, let's call it Indo Stereotypes. And we're like, okay, let's do it. We created a room like Indo Stereotypes, and it was like, ha ha ha, is this how it works? How do we do this? How do we talk? And suddenly people started to trickle in, and people are interested to actually talk about the topic. And we're like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Indo Stereotypes. So the conversation went on and on and on, and then, oh my goodness, I think after a few hours, there were like 200 people inside the room. And then me, Shannon, and Sharon were like, what's going on? Like, why are there so many people in the room? Like the heck, what just happened? And we're like, we're nobodies. Like, we're not like celebrities or influencers. Like, we just like random girls having fun with a room and called Indo Stereotypes. It was crazy. And then we got to, or at least I get to talk to so many people that I've never met before. And it was just insane. The next day we tried to do a couple more rooms. Some of them, reached like 140 something people, and some of them only hit like, 15 people or something like that. But at least for me, each room was very, very special and unique in its own way. We covered so much topic that I thought Indo people will never discuss. And I'm just so amazed. Like, this freaking random app that we downloaded, we were able to connect with so many people. Like, I made more friends than I ever did in 2020. It's insane. And then beyond Clubhouse, you know, you end up following them on Instagram, and then you connect with them on LinkedIn, you message them, and it's crazy. You're making friends. I know some people call it networking, but I like the term friends more. Friends, new friends. Pros and cons about Clubhouse. The first pro is you get to learn a lot. You get to learn a new skill, you get to make new friends. I think there's a lot of room for growth there. And you get to listen to, like, you know, other people's opinions and see things from different perspectives. So it's just like a great platform. This app is so amazing. I know I'm not sponsored by Clubhouse, I wish. I think it was popularized by Elon Musk, and I think the other day Bill Gates was also there. So it's kind of cool to see these like real life celebrities, influencers talking, and you get to listen to them in real life. The con is it can, like anything that is too much, it can get bad and it can get toxic. I notice a lot of people, they see Clubhouse as kind of like a glorified LinkedIn. I'm quoting my friend, like a glorified LinkedIn and glorified Instagram where you put your best profile photo, which I ended up doing as well. I was addicted to this app for a week, and then I barely had any sleep that week because, you know, I want to stay until 2 a.m. to listen to this room and then just talking to people, and you don't want to miss out. As someone who loves to sleep, I suffer from that. And I think it took me a while to kind of like, you know what, I should step back and prioritize my sleep more. Like, another con, you sometimes have to listen into people's opinion who are not aligned with yours, and you gotta learn how to respect that. And sometimes they have this like really angry tone, or they kind of like, it feels like they're attacking your opinion. But with me, I learned to still respect their opinions, and I just hope they will respect my opinions as well in return. You know, as simple as that. It's not simple, but I try to do that. If you never heard of Clubhouse before and you're interested to join, I implore you to try. The only downside is it's only available in iPhone. So if you're an Android user, I'm sorry, I think it's only available for iPhone for now. And then it's a members invite only. So the only way you can get in the app is if you have friends who are currently members of Clubhouse, and they have to send you an invite. So those are my stories for today. It's really long, but if you stick till the end, thank you for listening to my story. I really had a good time, and I'll try to post more videos in the future. I feel like I've gained more energy since the trip to SF, and I'll try to prioritize this more. Thank you again, Leah, for encouraging me to keep making these kind of videos. If you haven't, subscribe, comment, like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.